Gray, woody stems. Black spots creeping up the leaves. Foliage dropping for no clear reason. A base that's gone dry and crumbly even though you've been watering it faithfully. If you're standing over your lavender right now looking at any of that, I want you to stop blaming yourself for a second. You didn't kill this plant out of carelessness. Lavender looks tough. It's got that Mediterranean, drought-proof reputation. And that's exactly why it's so confusing when it starts failing on you anyway. Here's what I can tell you before we go any further. Almost every version of this problem traces back to one of 7 specific things. Most of them are fixable, some faster than you'd think. But there's one cause on this list, and it's not even the one most people jump to, that quietly wrecks more lavender plants than the rest combined, and almost nobody talks about it. Gardeners who've grown lavender for 20 years still miss it. And stay with me all the way to the end, because number 7 is the one almost nobody checks, and it's often the real reason the other 6 fixes don't stick. We're going through all 7, in order, started with the one that's probably already happening under the soil where you can't see it. If you close this now, you're going in blind, and this plant doesn't have time for another guessing game. The cause number 1 is overwatering, poor drainage. Overwatering is the one that gets almost everyone, because it never feels like overwatering while it's happening. You're not drowning the plant on purpose. You're just giving it the same care you'd give a hydrangea or a rose, checking the soil, keeping it evenly moist, maybe watering a little extra during a hot week. And that instinct, the one that's kept your other plants alive for years, is exactly what's killing this one. Lavender didn't evolve in rich garden beds. It evolved on dry, rocky Mediterranean hillsides where water runs off almost as fast as it falls. Its roots expect to dry out completely between drinks. When they sit in damp soil instead, they can't breathe, and within days of fine feeder roots start to rot from the tip inward. Here's your check. Pull gently at the base of the plant, right at the soil line. If it feels mushy or the stems near the ground are darker and soften the growth up top, or you catch a faint sour, swampy smell when you dig down an inch, that's root rot, not drought stress, even though the leaves up top might look just as crispy and dry as if you'd never watered at all. That mismatch, a plant that looks thirsty but is actually drowning, is what fools even experienced growers. And it's rarely the drainage alone. It's usually working together with something in the soil itself, which is exactly where we're headed next. The cause number 2 is soil too rich and acidic. That soggy feeling at the base almost always traces back to what the roots are actually sitting in. This is where a lot of well-meaning gardeners work against themselves without realizing it. They give their lavender the same rich, dark, compost-heavy soil that everything else in the garden loves. And that soil is basically a sponge. Lavender wants the opposite. It wants lean soil, low in organic matter, gritty, almost stingy on nutrients. And it wants that soil on the alkaline side, not acidic. If you've ever added peat moss, pine bark mulch, or a heavy dose of compost right around the base, you may have quietly acidified the soil and made it hold moisture exactly where the crown doesn't want it. Here's a simple check. Take a handful of soil from near the roots and squeeze it. If it clumps together and holds its shape like modeling clay, it's too rich and too moisture retentive. Good lavender soil should feel gritty and fall apart almost immediately, closer to what you'd expect underneath gravel than in a flower bed. The fix isn't complicated, but it does mean breaking a habit. Working coarse grit, horticultural sand, or even crushed gravel into the top layer around the plant improves drainage fast. And if you know your soil runs acidic, a light addition of garden lime can nudge the pH back toward where lavender actually wants to live. Get the soil right, and you've solved the 2 biggest killers. But there's a third factor working against you that has nothing to do with water or dirt at all. It's about how close your plants are standing to each other. The cause number 3 is overcrowding and poor air circulation. Lavender doesn't just need dry soil. It needs dry air moving around it too. And this is a cause most people never even think to check because it has nothing to do with watering habits at all. When lavender plants are crowded together, or planted too close to a fence, a wall, or a bushy neighbor, the air around the foliage stops moving. Moisture from dew, rain, or humidity gets trapped inside the plant instead of evaporating off quickly. And lavender, remember, comes from hillsides where wind is constant. Still, Damp air sitting inside the foliage is about as unnatural a condition as you can put it in. The telltale sign here is different from root rot. Look for grayish or white powdery patches on the leaves, especially toward the center of the plant where airflow is worst. You might also notice the interior branches look thin, yellowed, or bare compared to the outer growth that's getting sun and air. That's powdery mildew or another fungal issue setting in, and it spreads fastest exactly where plants are packed and tight. The fix is almost entirely about spacing and shape. Established lavender wants real breathing room, often 2 to 3 feet between plants depending on the variety, an open, rounded form rather than a dense, tangled mound. If your plants have grown into each other over the years, thinning out crowded interior stems opens the airflow back up without you having to move anything. Which brings us to the shape of the plant itself, because how you've been pruning it or not pruning it might be setting up problems that take years to show themselves. The cause number 4 is wrong or absent pruning. This is the one that sneaks up on long-time growers especially, because it doesn't show up right away. It shows up 2, 3, sometimes 5 years down the line. Lavender is a woody subshrub, not a soft perennial, and that distinction matters more than most people realize. Every year, if you don't prune it back, it pushes new growth out from the tips of the existing wood, while the base gets thicker, harder, and more exposed. Skip the pruning for a few seasons, and you end up with a plant that's tall, sprawling, and bare in the middle, what growers call leggy. All the green, flowering growth sits way out at the ends of long woody stems, with nothing but dead-looking wood underneath. Here's the trap, though. Once a plant gets like that, the instinct is to cut it back hard to fix it. And that's where people accidentally finish the job. Lavender wood, once it's fully hardened and brown, usually won't push new growth if you cut into it. There's often a very thin band of green semi-softwood between the old growth and new. And if you're pruning cut lands below that line into the old wood, that branch typically just dies. No regrowth, no recovery, just a bare stick. So check your plant shape right now. Is most of the green growth sitting way out at the tips, with a woody, hollow-looking center? That's leggy growth from years of no pruning or pruning too lightly. The fix is gentle, repeated shaping, cutting back into that green zone every year after flowering, never chasing it into the brown. Get the timing and the cut right, though, and you also protect against something else. A plant that's simply the wrong fit for where it's planted, and that one has nothing to do with anything you've done wrong at all. The cause number 5 is climate and variety mismatch. Sometimes the plant hasn't failed you at all. It was simply never going to thrive where it was planted, no matter how well you cared for it. This is the mismatch nobody warns you about the garden center. Not every lavender variety suits every climate, even within the same country. If you're in the UK or the damp Pacific Northwest, English lavender can still struggle through wet winters, since it's more cold-hardy than moisture-tolerant. If you're in a humid stretch of the U.S. South or Canada's colder zones, the wrong variety can rot in summer humidity or simply not survive the winter it was never bred for. Check your specific variety against your actual hardiness zone and rainfall pattern, not just the general lavender's easy reputation. The cause number 6 is over-fertilizing. Now, close behind that is over-fertilizing, especially anything nitrogen-heavy. Lavender isn't a hungry plant. Rich feed pushes soft, fast, leggy growth and stresses the roots, working against everything you just fixed with pruning and soil. If you've been feeding it like a rose, stop. Lavender wants to stay lean. The cause number 7 is wrong planting depth or poor container drainage. And last, the one I told you to wait for, check the planting depth. And if it's in a container, check the drainage holes themselves. A crown planted too deep or sitting in a pot that holds water at the bottom keeps that base perpetually wet, which loops you right back to where we started. This is the one almost nobody checks, because it's not about care at all. It's about how the plant was set up from day one. And it's often the real reason the other 6 fixes don't stick. You can fix the watering, the soil, the spacing, the pruning, the variety, the feed, and this plant will still struggle if the crown itself is sitting wrong. Here's your recovery plan. In order. First, stop watering on a schedule. Water only when the soil is dry an inch down, and make sure excess water can actually drain away. Second, if the base feels mushy, pull back the mulch, work in coarse grit or sand, and give the roots a chance to dry out. Third, thin out anything crowding your plant so air can move through it again. Fourth, prune gently into that greenwood only and be patient. Lavender responds slowly, not overnight. Not every plant makes it back. Some will, especially if you catch this early. And honestly, most of you watching this caught it in time. That gray, woody stem, those black spots, the dropping leaves. None of that means you failed as a gardener. It means one or two of these 7 things were working against you quietly for longer than you realized. Go check your plant right now while this is fresh. Look at the base, the spacing, the shape. You'll probably know within a minute which of these 7 is yours. If this helped you figure out what's actually going on, stick around. There's more like this coming, real answers, no fluff, for people who actually care about what they grow.